Are you prepared to have your mind expanded? To learn things you may not have known? And to go places that might be a little unexpected? To talk with people who can teach you things? To learn about culture, music, and art? Well, you're not going to get that here because this is Smartless. Here we go.
Wait, two pieces of business right up front.
Okay, let's go, business.
One, Jason Bateman just recently won the Screen Actors Guild Award.
Oh,
and we
listen.
couldn't be happier.
That was a minute ago, wasn't it? But
flipped out.
This is going to air months after
yeah,
that.
I get it, but it just
doesn't-
kind of happened recently, and it was really exciting. A little tear. I got welled up. I was so happy and so proud.
Well, I'm just trying to chase you. What do you got? 4 of them now?
I got who's keeping score? Who's keeping score?
you're keeping
yeah,
score.
You
No,
know,
that's right. Shit. It's so 4. Yeah, 4.
yeah. Well, we're trying. And I wish my hair looked as good as yours this morning.
God.
Did you get up early? What, do you have a callback or something?
By the way, I slept in our new merch shirt. It's so comfortable.
Oh, that is the merch store is up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so
Here-
good.
here's what I say about our merch. Sleep in it, don't sleep on it. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Are we paying you extra for marketing ideas?
No, all of this stuff, and these are just the tops of headsies. You know,
Yeah.
as I call them, tops of headsies.
Wait, and then the other order of business is Jay had an emergency root canal yesterday.
Yeah.
Why did you not feel it coming on? Why an
I
emergency?
did.
thing?
It was whenever I would crunch on something that didn't crunch, you know, like a popcorn
Pill?
kernel that
Oh.
doesn't. Well, no pills. If you really come down and like, I need this, it will collapse.
Sure.
You know, a bacon bit
Oh yeah.
or
How many bacon bits are you eating? What are you talking about?
stuff like that would send me down to my knees. It
Well,
would
you
be-
eat
wow.
so many nuts, and by the way, insert joke here, but and also nuts here, but you do eat a lot of nuts.
I
Yeah.
do, and seeds, and sometimes seeds don't collapse either on a
Or
hard
the
crunch. So
seed-
anyway,
the seed
It's hard
is,
for me to go down on nuts too.
yeah, I
the
know it.
seed. The seed is stored in the nuts, right?
The seed is stored in the nuts. Yes.
And then
Yes.
it's-
Yes.
yes.
I hear what you did there.
So it was all of the sudden.
So yeah. So I had a bad bite on some overly fried rice kernel. That was fried up too hard in the pan. So that took me down a Sunday, and then I had to get in there Monday. And so what they did
Was that pre-SAG Awards?
Yeah,
Did
was that-
happen?
It was. I managed to fumble through my acceptance speech with a hurt tooth.
Oh my God.
I've got skills, you know, pain
So
tolerance.
you were able
and
to,
all.
you just kind of grit what was left of your teeth and got
Right.
through it.
I did.
Yeah.
So
I did.
so in a sense, you acted like everything was okay.
Oh.
I was up there for acting excellence. Yes, yes. No one was the wiser, Sean. And so then I sit in the the dentist chair yesterday morning, and he said, "Yeah, you're going to need a root canal." And I said, "When do we do that?" He goes, "Well, we can do it today if you want to." And he just stared at me, and I stared at him, and he blinked, and I blinked, and he wondered if I had, you know, the stones to actually go for it. And I was like,
Right.
"Let's do this." And
Wow.
and he
Fuck, what
leaned
a
the chair
hero.
back, and I know. And he went in there, started drilling, and about 45 minutes into drilling, right when I thought I was through the worst of it, he then gives me a play-by-play. Says, "Okay, now I'm going to slice out the root." Or no, he says, "Now I'm going to remove the nerve."
Oh
Like,
God.
You don't need to tell me. Well, like I just pictured this, you know,
Yeah.
big, large, animated, angry, red worm that he's going to slice through and pull out, and it was just so dumb of him.
Yeah, it's a lot of nerve. Yeah.
Was it? Oh, it takes a lot of nerve.
Really good.
Oh, Sean, are you getting a fax? Did a fax just come through, Sean? What happened?
Sorry,
Just like-
listener, we got to
that's-
wait. Sean's doing some reading.
No,
ahead.
that's like-
Is it okay, Sean? Should we pause
Something
the
was
record?
just printed on my printer.
Okay, let's turn
Okay.
all the devices off. Everything's on silent.
Do you think
Okay.
people are? Do you think people are just like butt printing you? What's going on?
With their butts.
Sorry, I butt printed you.
Nothing that's an emergency comes through the fax anymore, Sean.
No.
I got a phone call.
So
from.
hang on a second, guest. Will's not done.
Well, we can cut this up, but I got a phone call from our friend Conan O'Brien yesterday. I saw I missed it, so I called him back. And he didn't pick- and
Don't even speak his name to me.
and I texted him. I guess it's about the holidays next year because everybody
We're doing
He's
a group,
working on the list
where
already.
He's sending out the group photos from everybody, you know.
This
So-
motherfucker. I guarantee you our guest was at that party.
Yeah.
Guarantee you. We're gonna open with that.
So I said, sorry, I missed your call. And he goes, it was a butt dial. Even my ass hangs up on you.
That is a problem about having your name be starting with an A. You
Yeah.
get all the butt
Oh,
dials.
right.
I get all the butt dials from people all the time.
Mhm.
All the time. Anyway.
What's
make
even
me
more
feel lucky.
pathetic is that you called him back. Hey man, you didn't leave a message. Did you want me? Stupid
Well, we had
Will.
been texting, and then so I figured that he was like sick of texting, so he just wanted to get to phone. So I was like,
No,
what?
didn't want a longer conversation.
And
with
I'd
you.
been kind of shitty. I'd sent him because he'd been texting me this thing, and he was like, "Can I ask you to the blah blah blah?" I go, "Yeah, man." I go, "I'm a very busy person."
Wait, he was inviting you to something else?
Yeah, he's doing this, his Easter jamboree.
You couldn't even get that out, could you? God, you are talk show quick today, Willie. Good for
An
you.
Easter jamboree. Who says jamboree? even? How do you have that word ready?
You know what I just
ready?
noticed after how many years now, Will? That when you laugh really hard, you hold your left eye as if it's going to pop out. It's just the left eye that's loose, I think, right? You just hold right underneath the
That's
eye.
my
you hold it.
drifting. I think that's my
That's the
drifting
one.
eye.
So it'll fall with a real big laugh. Oh. Gang, this week's guest is one of my favorite people and talents.
Here we go.
He is able to make you laugh or cry. He can act or direct.
Mm.
He also writes and produces. Ladies, he's a Gemini, an avid reader, and allergic to peanuts.
Sounds like a catch.
Peanuts. Peanuts. Should have
Peanuts.
pronounced that better. He's been a part of 50 movies and a lot of TV. In fact, there he's received 3 Emmy Awards, 3 DGA Awards, 3 WGA Awards, but the 3 daughters he has are his favorites, guys. He's a lover, not a hater. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Bill Hader. Everybody.
Hey, hello. Hello.
I think I'll bet you
Hello.
I've got to be the best at the intros. Can we just
Yeah.
That
Well, I
was
was just
pretty
thinking that when you
good.
were
For a
saying it. I
second.
was like, oh, it's very.
Will
like,
is always improvising them. I take time and I shape them.
I shaped
That's
mine.
what's the worst part. I think that's the most damning thing is that you actually put time into that. Hi,
I
Bill
know,
Hader.
It is.
Hi,
Hi,
buddy.
Bill.
How are you guys?
Hi,
Good. How
Bill.
you doing,
Good.
man?
Hey, Bill.
How are you guys?
Good
Thanks
to
for
see
having me.
you.
So, Bill, did you go to Conan's Christmas party?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
And were you invited the year before as well?
I was. Yeah. Yeah. Those are intense.
How many years has he been having that?
I mean, wait. However long he's had that house.
Oh,
Yeah.
Were you guys there when the couch caught on fire? Were you guys
What?
there when?
I've always been there. Yeah.
Yeah, when the couch, he's inside and he's talking, and you know when Conan's had a couple, 2 glasses of wine because he's like, when I was a writer on Saturday Night Live, and then behind him his couch caught on fire,
And it wasn't a bit.
and it wasn't a bit, and we were all like going, Conan, the house is on fire, and he went, oh wow. But it was very sweet. I love those
Wasn't he?
parties.
Was he head writer when? By the time he left,
I think,
or no?
or
I
one
love
of
Bill
them.
Hader's on the phone and we're talking about Conan.
No, I think Conan, he had to be like one of the top writers on the show.
Yeah, I don't know if he was ever head writer, but he certainly is. Bill
I don't
said.
know. I think Jim Downey was always the head writer when he was there.
Yeah.
Jim Downey.
sure.
Can't,
The man, the myth.
couldn't book him. Hey, Bill, what's number 1 on my list here? Fascinating wiki page, by the way. Have you ever read your
brother.
wiki page?
Have you ever edited your wiki page?
No.
No. Will, have you ever read your wiki page? Don't lie.
Yeah, I've read it before. Sure, haven't you?
Sean, I have not.
Yeah.
Sean,
I read it years ago. I have no idea
Yeah,
what it says
long.
now.
I mean,
I
not
think you can
recently.
get in there and change it, right? Didn't we
Did we do
change?
that?
Well,
we
Kimmel
changed
used
Thoreau's
to
once.
Yeah, Kimmel used to change Thoreau's, right?
Yeah, we wrote on Thoreau's wiki page that he's a I don't think we called him a cum crier, but we said that he does cry after he ejaculates.
Right, that's
and it
right.
stayed there for a good day or two, I think. We
Yeah.
told him about it on his birthday.
I love
Okay. Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Were
Hey,
you
Bill.
interested in comedy as a kid?
Oh, Jesus
boy.
Christ.
Or were
he
you
didn't
interested
come
in-
here for this
This is
shit.
like a German interview. It's like, were you the class clown?
Yeah. In Germany, the clowns are very sad.
Wait, Bill, you know what I can't help think, and I'm so sorry to bring this up, but every time I see you, and we're all fans, that is the story of Megan Mullally seeing you and calling
yeah.
Lorne Michaels.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like
yeah.
saying, hey, you need to see this guy.
Is that
And then
true?
you got Saturday
That
Night
is
Live.
true.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that
It's an
is
incredible
true.
story.
Yeah, I was at a class. I was at like a class show at Second City, LA, and her brother-in-law, Matt Offerman, and I were in the same show together.
Oh.
And she saw me, and it was like, and she's from Oklahoma. I'm from Oklahoma. So anytime you meet someone else from Oklahoma, you're like, oh, there's a mural of them someplace.
Right.
So it was always like, oh my gosh, And she was like, "You're really funny," and I didn't think anything of it.
But had you auditioned for SNL before or anything?
No. I didn't have it. And she was like, "You're really funny," and I was like, "Oh, thanks." And I was working as an assistant editor on Iron Chef America.
Wow.
That's really what I was doing.
Wow.
Couldn't get the main
crazy.
gig on that.
I know. I couldn't get the main gig. I couldn't get the main gig. That's true.
Being assistant editor is a lot of like, Bill, get the lights, right?
Yeah. Assistant editor was like, Bobby Flay electrocuted himself. Can you take that out? Or whatever.
Yeah.
So Megan Mullally was that close to Lorne Michaels that she could actually pitch?
I guess so. I think she had just hosted.
Okay.
And so she called him up, and then I got a call from, I was in my edit bay, and Lindsay Shookus called me and was like, hey, it was Lindsay Shookus. And she was Marcy Klein's she was brand
Whisperer.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, hey, Lauren, like to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
And you never-
Lauren would like you to come and wait in the hall outside his office at 1
For
a.m.
8 hours.
and then meet him at 4:30.
Yeah, I met him at 4. No, that's
really?
That's 100% what happened.
Nothing makes me more nervous about the auditioning process than waiting to go in.
I went in and I was just sitting there, and then I sat in that outer office on the 9th floor for 4 hours, and then someone came in and was like, hey, we're going to go have dinner now. And I was like, with Lauren? And it was like, oh, no, just you and me. And then it's like awkward small talk. Very nice people. Yeah. And then, I finally...
Who was that dinner with?
I was just Lindsay and, oh my gosh, I forget the other person. But it was one of his assistants. And then this is like early 2005. Mm-hmm. And then I finally go in to see him. And he goes, do you know why you're here? And I said, oh, Megan Mullally said she saw me. And he's like, I was on a boat once. With a guy, and he was funny the way that Bill Murray is funny. And I thought to myself, I know Bill Murray.
End of story.
That was the end.
And then it was like, do you want to hang out tomorrow and watch the show? And I was like, sure. And he was like, all right. And you know who hosted the next week when I did my show was you, Jason.
Me?
So when you hosted...
The first time.
That was when it was Tuesday night writing night of when you hosted. They made some of the cast members and people come and watch me perform.
No way.
Because
That
I
was
remember
early 2005. That was like January, February.
January, yes, yeah.
How do you know that, Will? How do you know that, Will?
Jesus.
Yeah, because I have a fucking
Crazy.
And I was sitting there going, they go, yeah, we're writing, Jason Bateman's hosting this week, and we got to get back. So hurry, come on, you got to because I had
he needs a lot of writing. Yeah.
I had a sketch group, and my sketch/audition piece was in the middle of the show. Mm-hmm. And Lindsay Shookus ran the back and was like, just do that sketch. Come on, we got to go.
But here's my question, though. It's like, Megan made this call to Lauren. Lauren called you, but did you have any aspirations to do that? Or were you just like, sure, I guess I'll show up because somebody called?
I came to LA to be the director. Those were always my heroes. I would like writing, directing, and then, but back especially late '90s, early 2000s, it was still like it had to be on film. Right. Video didn't look good as now, and I had no money, so a way to be creative was a friend of mine said, "Oh, do you want to take classes with me at Second City, and we'll just mess around?" And it was really fun, but it was always like. So when I got on SNL, I was so envious of the Lonely Island guys that they were making short films.
Yeah.
So I was like, can I go hang out while you guys are making those so I can, because that's my world. That's what
those
I
were
was
the digital
excited
shorts for Tracy.
Yeah.
For Tracy. I remember, Bill, early on when you came on the show, like early, and we were at an after party with your folks. It must have been one of your first shows. Do you remember that? We were sitting outside.
Yeah, my dad lost his mind over Will. My dad lost
Really?
There were huge arrested. There were huge. His parents were huge Arrested fans.
Oh, no
Do you remember
way.
that, Bill?
Yeah, my dad goes, no fucking way. Will Arnett, holy shit. And he kind of had Will up against the wall. It was
Yes.
at that place that's right across the street from 30 Rock.
On 6th Avenue. Exactly.
Avenue. Yeah.
Fuck, Bill, good.
And I was going, Dad, relax. And he was like, no fucking way. You're
Get
the
out of my
shit,
face,
man.
Bill. Yeah.
And,
like,
I
"You
remember
are the
Bill, and then
shit."
Bill was like new, and Bill just kept going, I'm sorry, man. I and I was like,
Dad,
no,
relax.
your parents were super nice.
Oh, it made it. I was gonna have a panic attack because I heard had my back turned. This is back when I smoked, so I was having a cigarette.
That's right. We were
and
about
I was, and behind me I hear Will Arnett, Bill Senior, and I was like, oh my god, no.
He starts stubbing out the cigarette.
No. I remember one time my mom went over and sat at Lauren's table, and I look over there, and Paul Rudd was like, he goes, Bill, are you clocking this? And I turn around, and my mom is sitting at Lauren's table in between Marty Short and Steven Spielberg. And I just walk over there, and I'm like, she's coming with me. I'm sorry. Come on. You know, it's just like, oh my God. It's like, they're all so short.
Were you?
They're so tiny. They're all so tiny.
Were you? I would imagine.
like they're not even there, like in front of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you confident that you were a comedian and were able to make a living in comedy, given that you were kind of just wanting to be a director and go that route, and then all of a sudden you find yourself with a job as a comic? Did you feel like, great, well, let's do this now, or were you like, they're going to find out I don't know what I'm doing?
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I was. I mean, to have those people who were in there when I showed up, you know. I was really intimidated, you know, so I was kind of like, they all had Second City, you know, Groundlings. I remember I came in with Jason
Chicago
Kristen
Mafia. Comedy Chicago Mafia.
Oh, man, and I just was like, I remember my first table read just going, I wrote a thing with Will Forte, and it was so bad. And I just remember looking in the middle of it over at Tina Fey, and she just had this look on her face like, what the fuck? Oh, no, you guys. You know, and I was like, oh, God. You know, so I was incredibly crippling, insecure and anxious, I would say, the first 4 seasons.
But it's almost like you were made for the show, though, because like I'm sorry to keep harping on the same point, but it's like you got this call, but you had all these characters inside of you, and a lot of the you know, I find it rare in a lot of sketch shows that people have so many characters, like you or Mike Myers or Dana Carvey or whoever, that just had them.
But did you even know that you had those characters in you?
No, I didn't know. No, a lot of that was like, you know, you make fun of people, you know, you do impressions of people at school or, you know, things like that, but never, you know, I don't know. You guys are probably saying, I don't know. I was not the funniest of my friends in high school. So it wasn't like I was known as a funny, like, my friends in high school, when I hang out with them, I'm like the 8th funniest guy in this group. Everyone's
but you know how to
so
cherry
funny.
pick. I know how to cherry pick.
You know what I mean?
Half my shit's all Will Arnett's.
Yeah.
Bill, you know what it makes me think of is our mutual friend and all of our friend, the great Pete Serafinowicz, when he used to do that 15 impressions of famous, but it's all of made up characters. So
that's one of my favorite things.
So it's
ever.
It's fake famous
you
people.
You guys both do an Alan Alda that kills
you both do an Alan Alda.
Well, that's what people say. Alan Alda was like, we got to see Peter Serafinowicz. This is pretty insane.
But Bill, you know, it does make me think though. Like you talked about the film. You and the Lonely Island Boys started making video. You were in there working with those guys pretty early. I mean, in fact, the summer after Lazy Sunday, you guys were making Hot Rod.
Was it June, July, or August, Will?
That was September. Hot Rod was August, September
so
of
that's
2006.
Fall. That's fall.
2006.
That's just
it came out in 7.
Yeah, it came out in 7, but it was shot in.
But we shot it in 6.
Yeah, because I remember I went up to my friend's wedding in Toronto, but I had to go.
You're really funny.
And I was really sick.
My kid, I just showed it. I just watched that movie with my kids, and their favorite part is you yelling "babe, babe, babe."
Which one is it? Hot Rod? I've not.
Hot Rod.
Seen
I've never seen
that.
it.
My recollection.
Do
you remember there was that scene, Bill? We were shooting. It was you, me, Danny McBride, and Yorm. But you and Yorma were standing in front of me, and I forget what happened. I kept going like, "What about the little one?" I kept saying to Yorma, and we kept fucking laughing. And then we'd all break up, and I was like, "Okay, we got to stop. We got to get one." But what I was going to say was you started making videos with these guys really early, and I love the one that you guys did that fucking always kills me. I think holds up is that Dear Sister.
Oh
that what
yeah,
it's called?
those. I mean, to be clear, those guys wrote and directed all those. It was kind of like they would come into my office and go, "Hey, Bill, you want to be in this?" And I'd be like, "Yes," because I just wanted to be around them shooting stuff.
Yeah,
'cause
but
I
you're a
was so
vital
annoyed
part.
with it.
You're still a vital part of it.
That Dear Sister one was, I think something fell through, and that was a thing they had done before. So they're like, "Oh, we're going to recreate this thing we did once before," and that was at a hotel across the street from 30 Rock. And all I remember from that one is that we started shooting it at like midnight.
No way.
And then it was done on Friday night. And then it was done at like 7 a.m, Saturday morning. And I walked out and I had the choice, do I go home and try to sleep, or do I just go to 30 Rock right now and just hang in my dressing room until we started rehearsing? It was awful.
Fuck.
Yeah, I don't like
But it was
that.
like
I was not a fan of
you.
that.
It was you and Wig and Andy and
Fred and Jason were cops at the end, and then Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf and Fred and Jason. Fuck, have you guys ever seen that sketch? Do yourselves a favor. It is
The Lonely Island guys
It's incredible.
were just incredible. I love everything they do.
The timing of the editing of that sketch is unbelievably funny.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's a masterclass in timing.
Yeah, I got to see that.
And we will be right back.
Hey, Smartless listener. When it comes to feeding your curiosity and igniting your imagination, there's one place that stands out: Audible. Picture this: over 750,000 titles at your fingertips, from bestsellers to gripping podcasts and mind-blowing originals. There's something for every kind of listener out there. Discover all the best in audiobooks, podcasts, and originals featuring authentic Canadian voices and celebrity talent. It's like a front row seat to the best spoken word entertainment. But here's the kicker. You don't have to take my word for it. Your first listen is on the house when you kick off your free trial at audible.ca. Yep, free. So what are you waiting for? Dive into a world of captivating stories and fresh perspectives. Visit audible.ca and start your free trial today. Smartlist gets support from Rakuten. If you're getting ready to do your holiday shopping at stores like Sephora, Old Navy, and Expedia, make sure you head to Rakuten first. Rakuten helps you save big on whatever you're buying for the holidays. Getting gifts for your friends and family? Get some cash back for yourself. Plus, save on festive home decor, party outfits, and that trip to see your fam. With Rakuten, you can earn cash back on top of the biggest sales of the season, so you get the most savings. And it's easy to use. Just start your shopping at Rakuten.ca or use the Rakuten app. You'll get your cashback payments through PayPal or check. Rakuten partners with over 750 stores. The stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cashback. Join for free at Rakuten.ca or get the Rakuten app. That's RAKUTEN.
Hello, listeners. This is Mike Corey of Against the Odds. You might know that I adventure around the world while recording this podcast. And over the years, I've learned that where I stay when I travel can make all the difference. Airbnb has been my go-to place for finding the perfect accommodations. Because with hotels, you often don't have the luxury of extra space or privacy. Recently, I had a bunch of friends come down to visit in Mexico. We found this large house, and the place had a pool, a barbecue, a kitchen, and a great big living room to play cards, watch movies, and just chill out. It honestly made all the difference in the trip. It felt like we were all roommates again. The next time you're planning a trip, whether it's with friends, family, or yourself, check out Airbnb to find something you won't forget.
And now back to the show.
So, Bill, did you think that you had a fastball when you started? Was there? Did you think I'm going to do impersonations, or I'm going to be the straight man, or I'm going to be the crazy? Like, what did you think?
Like your
best
Vincent
thing
Price.
was?
By the way, your Vincent Price fucking kills
Oh,
me.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of stuff was the writers would kind of. I was someone who really needed the writers. I was always impressed with people like Fred and Kristen and these people who would just write for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and you were like, man, you guys are just so confident you could do that. I really needed to go into a writer and go, you know, and sometimes it was like, well, Bill, what's a voice you do? You
Right,
know, or
yeah.
what's anything. And like a lot of people, I kind of came in and my heroes and things I liked was much more weirder and kind of stranger, and I learned the term hat on a hat.
Yeah.
Because it was like, you can't just do a talk show. It's got to be a talk show that's inside a man's ear, that's on the, you know, whatever. It was very Monty Python-y.
Explain hat on
weirdness.
a hat for
It's
Tracy.
kind of like a joke on a joke. So a perfect example was I did a sketch because I could do a Tauntaun impression.
So funny.
And Matt Murray, one of the great writers on the show, said, "What if you did that?" Panther. And we and we had Natalie Portman was hosting. So it's like, oh, what if it's you teaching her how to do different Star Wars noises as part of her SNL audition? And then I said, what if I do it as Peter Falk? So that thing alone as me as just an acting teacher, that's enough. But adding Peter Falk was like...
Can you do like 2 seconds
it's
of
a
it?
hat on a hat. Oh, no, it was like... this is a Jawa. Now listen, the Tauntaun comes from the land at Hoth, and the horse is. And listen, now come over here,
Will's holding his eye.
Luke Skywalker is gonna have to ride him across the icy tundra. And he goes, that's all you gotta do is you gotta. And I just remember Seth Meyers going like, Hey, buddy, can I talk to you for a second? It's a little bit of a hat on a hat. And I go, what? I don't know what that means. And then I did it at Dress. You're never going to believe this. It died. It was one of those things.
I think that's so funny.
It was one of those sketches where I could hear my footsteps. I could hear myself putting a glass of water down. It was like... It was just echo.
It's so quiet. You can hear the E train.
Yeah, you can hear the E
down.
train. You can hear someone cough in the alphabet streets, and I was like, "Oh God, this is bad news." And I went in there, and I just looked at me, and he mimicked, putting a hat on top of another hat, and I was like, "Okay."
And so it didn't make it.
Yeah,
I think that is so funny.
Was Natalie must have been dying when you were doing that.
she seemed to like it. I don't know. And then we did. I remember Dana Carvey hosted. We did a thing called the Kasems, where he was Casey Kasem and I was his son, J.C. Kasem. And the whole thing was that we had a terrible relationship, and it was me coming to the house at 2 a.m. And he was like, "Who's out there?" "I'm Casey Kasem." And I'm like, Dad, it's not a burglar or a raccoon. It's me, your son, J.C. Kasem. Son, get out of here. Dad, hear me out. Son, I want nothing to do with you. And it was this very intense family drama. But we were, and he says, he goes, "You're always asking me, why won't you get a job? Why won't you stop doing drugs? And what recording artists had more #1 hits?" He goes, "Mariah Carey with 11. But seriously, son, I need you out of my house." And that played to utter silence.
That's astonishing to me.
More silence.
Utter silence, because the audience was going, "Wait, did he? Wait, what?" You know what I mean? And so,
that's funny.
yeah, we were just like,
I would have been on the
I just remember
fucking
Dana and I
floor.
were going. Dana and I were like, "Why didn't I wrote it with John Mulaney?" And we both were like, "Why didn't that work? That was so funny."
Well, do you
You
guys
know?
ever have discussions about because the dress is what 8, and then the show's obviously
Yeah.
11:30. But do you ever say, well, but the audience at 8 is weird and it's different. Let's just trust that the 11:30 audience is going to love it at home and
It's like I wish there was a science to it, but I do remember if the dress was hot, that was bad. If dress was really hot, I remember Polar saying like, "Uh-oh, hot dress, that's bad," and I was like, "Why? What? Oh, And then she was right. It's like if the dress is hot, then weirdly you get like it's a superstition thing. You get really confident, and then when you go out to do the live show, it's like
Go, Sean.
oh.
Go, Sean. Go.
I was just say for my sister Tracy, like when you say dress, it's dress rehearsal. And
Oh, sorry,
the thing
dress
that
rehearsal.
you do before
The
the actual
pre-show.
live
Sorry.
show.
And they have extra sketches in the dress.
Yes,
and,
so there's-
and then they
yes.
cut. Go ahead,
the
Bill.
stuff
you
that
say it.
doesn't work gets paired out.
Yeah, so dress rehearsals at 8:00. We do a whole show plus like
I remember that.
3 or 4 extra sketches, and then we go into Lauren's office and stuff has been cut, and then
Right.
the stuff's been rearranged and rewritten, and then that's the live show.
And this is after a brief conversation with the host who gets to chime in. I'm not sure to what effect about what they would like
makes them feel
cut
better.
or not. Yeah, and I'm not sure if they're
He's
listening
like,
to
I
it. but-
think, and it's Lauren eating popcorn going,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to look like a fool, we can do this.
I once My brother-in-law played golf once
Yes.
years
Yeah.
ago,
My
and he
brother-
owned a golf club. And the question is, are you going to rent or own?
Are you
You're like,
gonna
wait,
rent
is
or
the sketch
own?
cut?
Because is and then we would do those Vincent Price sketches, and it'd be between dress and hair, and like someone wouldn't do something, old school impression, and Lauren would be like, "Well, what if John Hamm played Herbert Marshall?" And you're hearing the band playing, you're hearing the live audience being put in, and you're like, I don't know if the audience is gonna know who Fred McMurray, and it's like, how about James Mason? Anybody could do James Mason. Let's just do that.
If I imagined you when you're working on an impression, if I imagined you in front of a mirror alone, just like making faces and doing sounds, is that about the extent of it? Like, is it a real private kind of, or is it kind of a little here and a little there? Like sometimes in the car, sometimes.
Yeah, you do it in the car, or you do it around people, and then it kind of comes out, and it's like, whoa, that sounded good.
Do you still do that, Bill? Or I mean, do you still?
Oh yeah. It's like it's just like, it's like my dad does this too, where it's called appropriation, where it's when you're nervous around someone, you start to talk like them, and I've done that since I was a kid. Like I get very socially anxious, and then you start to mimic people's accents as a way of being like, hey, I'm like don't, like we're all good, it's like
We're part of the same tribe. Don't kill me.
Yeah. Don't kill me. So you start to talk like people or whatever, and then and so I think that lent itself to being able to do voices.
When you were growing up in Oklahoma, did you do that? Did you have did you gravitate towards friends that had the same sensibility and were kind of
for sure.
odd like that, or were you like?
Oh yeah, and like we weren't like weird outcasts.
No, he
or
was trying to
anything.
ingratiate himself with murderers and.
Well, that too. I mean, I kind of wanted I just wanted like to get to know everybody.
Yeah.
No, but like my best friend is a writer on Barry. Is like one of the big writers on Barry, and we've known each other since we were 15 or so.
Wow.
And we still
Great
write
show,
together.
by the way. Great show, and you're great in it.
Thanks.
Yeah, congrats on everything with Barry.
So,
It's huge.
so working on a bridge from SNL to Barry, what about? Do you remember the moment where it started to become clear to you that, okay, my life is changing and going to change, and I got to kind of get my knees bent and be ready for what can be pretty uncomfortable, which is fame and recognition and responsibility and approaching your dreams. What did that feel like?
Like when Barry came out, or like when after SNL ended?
Yeah, I mean to move away now from SNL, but I guess it must have started there, and feeling like maybe I can now leave and see if I've got what I hope I have, and try it out there.
Yeah, it's nerve wracking when you. I mean, because I remember when I left SNL, I did like interviews about it. Like I went and did like Charlie Rose, and I did these things about you're leaving SNL, and the attitude and everything was like, well, maybe we're never gonna see you again. What I mean? Like nice knowing you.
Well, that's the
And you're
risk,
like,
right? No
cool,
one knows.
Well, thanks,
There's-
and it was like maybe that's it. And so yeah, it was.
I wonder what that batting average is. What do you think the percentage of cast members that go on to, careers that you can still make a living with?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it 50%?
Yeah.
I have
it
no
that
idea.
high?
I mean, I try to. I think it was for me. It was like it's like if I thought of like what makes a plane stay up in the air, I would go
I know.
crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just was like, I'm just gonna move forward and block out any sort of, because I'm very sensitive to other people's energy. So it is hard when you see agents or executives, and they're like, hi.
Uh-oh.
And you're like, wait, am I out? Am I in? Wait, what was that? Why are you acting like that? You know what I mean?
I know,
And
yeah.
so I'm very, I do kind of like put my head down and just keep moving forward and try stuff.
It was pretty cool to see you start taking roles that weren't necessarily starring roles. They were these really cool supporting roles in these really fun movies that had these great big stars leading them. And I was like, this is, it looks like you're building this foundation that is going to be around for a long time. And then when Barry happened, and especially the directing element, I was just like so excited for you. And then talking with you afterwards and finding out about your original passion, which was directing, I just was so excited for you that has all come true. I mean,
Oh, thank you very much.
jumping
Thanks,
around a
man.
bit, but I mean, was that always a goal for you? And that some of these, to the extent there was any strategy, that some of these career choices were meant to point you in that direction and finally land something where you could be somewhat of an auteur?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was always wanting to do movies, and then you know, I'd written some scripts, and then did some acting jobs, and then, but I didn't really have a lot of faith in myself. It was kind of like, you know, it's like you dream of a thing, but you don't, you know, I don't know if I can do it. It feels like the universe wants me to be this thing.
Right.
And I'm kind of going, oh, maybe I'm not right for this other thing. And then honestly, I had a meeting with HBO. They had seen me in a movie called Skeleton Twins, and they said, oh, you should, we're interested in you being like that kind of acting in a show for us, not like
such great
sketch.
taste over there.
And I was like, okay, cool. And then they go, oh, you meet this guy, Alec Berg. Maybe you guys come up with something.
Yeah.
So Alec and I
The
sat.
great Alec Berg.
Yeah.
Came up with the show Barry. And it was when I went into the meeting, I haven't talked about Alec about it or anybody. And they went, who do you think should do the pilot? Mike Lombardo was like, who do you think should do the pilot? And I was like, I'll direct it. And it was just silence. And they go, have you ever directed before? I was like, no, but I can do it. And Alec Berg, to his credit, kind of looked at me. I hadn't talked to him about it or anything. And he went, yeah, he can do it. Yeah, he'll be fine.
Wow.
He can do it. And then,
Oh, that's great.
and then he told me afterwards that he was driving home and they called him going, all right, can you really do it? Or are you just...
Yeah,
And he
because
went,
that's
"No,
a
he'll
big
be
for
fine. He'll
Tracy.
be
That's a
fine."
very
Bill, didn't you tell me though at one time, and maybe that you said that Alex said to HBO, yes, if Jason Bateman can direct, anybody can? Is that
Yeah,
true?
yeah.
that
that
is
was-
a quote. That's a
Yeah.
quote.
Well, that was a T-shirt they wear over
And
there.
the DGA that was and the DGA said, yeah, we let him in as a bit. They said they kept saying we let him as a bit
Yeah.
into the DGA.
That was also at South by Southwest when they give you your key cards
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the Four Seasons. It said, if Jason Bateman, that's what it
Wait,
said. on
guys,
it.
I hope this is a joke.
No, it's gonna be. It's a big long joke, and they're giving you awards and they're giving
No,
you jobs because at
you're-
the end, it's gonna be. We're gonna do a big reveal when you're like 60.
Yeah.
And by the way, when Jason's 60, he's simultaneously going to weigh 60 pounds. He's whittling down, you know, and now he can't even have the nut. So it's just the cardboard. So he's going to be 60 pounds. And then we all go, it was a fucking joke.
Jason, do you ever have that happen, though, when people look at you and they go, oh, an actor's directing?
You,
thing a
if
little
they
bit.
don't, they can always be sure that I'm doing it. I'm
Yeah,
sitting there
yeah.
going, what am I? What
Yeah,
am I
but
doing?
bullshit. Both
And-
of you guys are smart dudes,
Yeah.
and you know what you're doing, and you've been around a lot. And as you know from the little directing that I've done, it's much more about understanding what it is that you want tonally and what you want that to be.
Exactly.
Right. And,
Yeah, exactly,
And
yeah.
also, you guys have succeeded in it. It's
Yeah.
not like you tried it
but
and failed.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
But still, it doesn't matter because my idea of what a director is and looks like is completely opposite from me. It's just like your idea of what 50 would be when you were 12. It has nothing to do with what I feel like and look like at 50, or
But
like
you also know, like even the grades, as you know, there is a certain, and I say this out of with a tremendous amount of respect for all the great directors that have come out. Is there's that thing of like they have to keep it special and keep it exclusive and keep you out because they're not doing it to punish everybody else, but it's also to maintain that respect and that level of thing. It's like this guy's a great director and you could never do that. And there's a little bit of like, well, you did it.
no,
You're just a
Yeah,
human being
exactly.
as well,
Just a
and
person
Yeah, it's not
executing
so
taste.
scary.
just a little bit. And there is, and of course there are great directors, but you guys are both very accomplished, good directors, and that's how you become a great, is you keep doing it.
Yeah.
And also just sitting around a set and absorbing what
Yeah.
everybody is doing to create this fake world. Like it's hard. What these crew members do is insane.
It's insane, yeah.
It's really, really
And it's
cool.
not just the director, as you guys know. Right. Everybody's
Well,
a
that, and it's
filmmaker,
not
the
just
costume
like,
department.
I love how
and-
many actors show up on the first day of principal photography and they're like, okay, let's get started. It's like, no, we've been to this
No,
location
we've been doing this for a
probably
long
half a
time.
dozen times. The whole
Yeah.
movie's shot
I just-
already, basically.
But
you
yeah,
just need to
it's
talk.
always people kind of thinking like, well, it's also I always have a thing where you have an idea, and then you go out there and you see all these people busting their ass away from their families
Yeah.
in terrible conditions,
For at least 12 hours
like
a
trying
day.
to make your idea happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, I sit and I look at that and I feel like such a responsibility to, you know, have my shit together. And as we know as actors, that's the worst is when you have a director that doesn't know what they want and they're surly and it could be this and you're there for, I mean, I've worked on shows where I did a show once, a movie where we did reverse splits because we kept going so late through the week. So by Friday, we started the day on stage at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
and shot until 3 p.m.
On
And it was
stage,
solely
interior.
because the director was just like, I don't know.
What's reverse splits?
Okay, so like
For Tracy.
That's a big Tracy.
oh
episode.
yeah, so like if you start like so you have to have like certain people have to have like 12-hour turnarounds, meaning like if you work from 7 a.m. and you shoot until 10 p.m., you got to start the next day at 10 a.m.
Right.
You got to give people 12 hours
You
of
got to
rest.
give 12 hours of rest.
Which includes driving home, which is
exactly.
Can do. You got to
negotiate.
negotiate for
You
that,
got to
actually.
negotiate that.
No, but I mean
door-to-door
early on when you're
thing.
starting.
Yeah.
Let's not even get into portal to portal. I mean, what are we talking
Portal,
about? Here?
portal to portal is like the gold. Like you got portal to portal.
Now we're going to start getting into Downey's deal. I mean, Downey's on stage for 45 minutes before he's out.
Yeah. It's anyway, you go so like if you start at, you know, Monday at work at 7 a.m. and you end at 10 p.m. and then you have to go, okay, now we have 10 a.m. and then they go until
Tuesday.
1.
Now, Wednesday, you can't start until 1 p.m. And then
You can't start
Thursday,
at 1 p.m.
it's going to roll
Thursday,
back
you
even
can't.
more.
So it's basically a director shooting 18 to 20-hour days, and you got to give people their turnaround. It just keeps pushing.
Right.
So you're ending your work week Saturday at
Fraturday.
like 4 in the afternoon. Yeah, Fraturday. And you're like,
Yeah.
and it's solely because someone doesn't have their
Shit together.
Yeah.
shit
And
together.
in a director's defense, they never see any other director direct. So they don't
Yeah.
know that they're not getting it done, that they're
True.
not doing it well. It's,
Right.
you know, actors, crew members, everybody sees multiple directors. And then if you ever get the chance to direct, you can cherry pick from all the good ones
Exactly.
and not do the
Yeah.
stuff that the bad
Exactly.
guys did.
Sean, go ahead, jump in. You got a
Thanks.
quick.
I wanted to say, Bill, one of the first times I was ever introduced to one of those hysterical bad lip reading things was you. Somebody sent it to me years ago, and they're so funny. I think they were Star Wars ones or something.
Yeah.
And
Maya Rudolph. did
they
one.
make me
You got to send
cry
me one. I've never seen
laughing.
that.
And I want to know,
Are you done? You're done with the subject we were on?
Yeah.
directing?
Oh,
Okay.
he loves it. He just goes 180.
Sean, unbelievable.
Yeah. And he got
No,
nominated. Remember,
it's okay. It's fine.
you've pissed off the guest, Sean.
No, I
It's
thought,
okay.
you know.
We can talk about bad lip reading. I'm all right.
No, I always wanted to know because I've never met anybody who I know who did it. This is the dumbest question in the world, but I'm always interested in knowing, how do you do it? Do they just run the tape and you ad lib, or is
Well,
it
the guy who
written?
does it is a genius, and you go to his house and he's done it already.
Oh wow!
So you just
Oh, you just
it's
do it
just
over.
ADR. It's just
Oh,
you're
okay.
watching it going, okay, so he's done it already, and so you're trying to mimic
It's so funny,
what they've done, and it's really that guy. I
and
mean,
it kind of
he's-
just took off, and now they do it for people in Congress, and like.
I don't know
it's so
how
funny.
I have no idea how he. How that
Anyway,
guy
that's
does
all I
that.
wanted to know.
Now, what,
You can move this around in the episode. You
mean,
can move
you
that a
just
little
veered
earlier.
us off
Believe
the
me, we'll
road.
cut it.
there's
He
a whole
just-
Sean section that is after people
Sometimes he
usually
talks
listen.
like we say he's like a Make-A-Wish kid. He'll just go, I always wanted to know, how did you...
And when we give him a T-shirt every once in a while,
We're just building steam with the...
Yeah.
with
Did
the-
You grow up with a dog.
now with Barry, where are we with Barry?
Yeah.
As we talk
By
with you
the way,
today.
sorry. No offense to Make-A-Wish. Obviously, it's amazing, and we
Yeah, you
say
don't have to say that. Everybody knows you're joking.
Okay. Well, we don't. You know, we get lots of letters from people.
Let him write.
Just don't read them well.
You're right.
Yeah.
So where are we with
Yeah,
Barry?
well-
Are we in production? Out of production?
The thing with Barry...
I'm just waiting for Sean to come in.
Yeah, he'll interrupt.
No, it's really funny.
He doesn't think
it's
of
a
any
funny bit to be like,
questions until you're actually
Did
talking.
your parents listen to Charo?
Believe me, it's exactly like that.
No, but I think that's funny. I like that. We just did. So we're doing editing season 4. And
How high can you jump?
God, it's so...
I'm just curious. These are the things.
See, like you could. Long legs.
Seems like you could jump high. Anyway, depression. You were talking about depression.
Sorry, you're really into the thing you were talking about. But I just wanted to take you out just to satisfy my own itch.
And so
That's right. That's
depression
exactly
has affected your family for how long? And you do like tater tots. I just want to get that.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Everyone leaves a legacy.
I like Mr. Gorbachev. We can do business together.
For some, the shadow falls across decades, even centuries.
It is unacceptable to have figures like Rhodes glorified.
But it also changes. Reputations are re-examined by new generations who may not like what they find.
Picasso is undeniably a genius, but also a less than perfect human.
From Wondery and Goalhanger podcasts, I'm Afua Hirsch.
I'm Peter Frankopan.
And this is Legacy, a brand new show exploring the lives of some of the biggest characters in history.
To find out what their past tells us about our present.
Nina Simone was constantly told to sit down and shut up. You're the angry black woman.
The name of Napoleon still rings out in the patter of the guides who thrive on the tourist trade.
Binge entire seasons of Legacy ad-free on Amazon Music, or listen weekly wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Rob Brydon, and welcome to my podcast, Brydon and. We are now in our third series. Among those still to come is Sir Michael Palin, the comedy duo Egg, and Robbie Williams. The list goes on, so do sit back and enjoy Brydon and on Amazon Music, Wondery Plus, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What a life these celebrities lead. Imagine walking the red carpet, the cameras in your face, the designer clothes, the worst dress list, the big house, the world constantly peering in, the bursting bank account, the people trying to get their grubby mitts on it. What's he on about? I'm just saying, being really, really famous, it's not always easy.
I'm Emily Lloyd-Saney.
And I'm Anna Leon Brophy. And we're the hosts of Terribly Famous from Wondery, the podcast which tells the stories of our favourite celebrities from their perspective.
Each season, we show you what it's really like being famous by taking you inside the life of a British icon.
We walk you through their glittering highs and eyebrow-raising lows and ask, is fame and fortune really worth it?
Follow Terribly Famous now wherever you get your podcasts, or listen early and ad-free on Wondery Plus on Apple Podcasts or the Wondery app.
And now back to the show.
Wait, so you're editing?
We're editing, and we
season 4
just did reshoots last week. We did 3 days of reshoots. So I'm in this weird place of like, did these reshoots, and now I'm back in the edit bay plugging in what we reshot, and the anxiety of like, oh, please tell me this works, you know?
Yeah.
And seeing how it plays out and going. But then it's also that I'm also at that phase where really smart friends and people who have worked on the show, or people I know, writers or former editors, I will send them the episodes to be like, how's it feeling?
Haven't been sent anything.
You know, well, you know.
Yeah, I'll check my I'll check the junk.
Siri, refresh my inbox.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But didn't you take now? I feel like it hasn't been on for a while. Didn't you take a break? Was there a break or a COVID thing or something?
Yeah, well, we had to for between seasons 2 and 3. Yeah, and then there's with COVID,
like
and then I shot.
I've been waiting.
No, I did 3 and 4 pretty much back to back.
Huh?
Yeah.
Because of Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, because of Fauci, because he wanted to do. I keep going. What's the end game? What did he want to do? He wanted to take over the planet. What do you think
that at the Emmys? Can I say you two, Jason and Will, were the 2 people at the Emmys that pointed at my face and went, "Mouth, why are you wearing a mask?"
Oh, I remember you wearing the mask. I remember, yeah.
Jason, you were going, why? Like mouthing.
Are you sick?
Are you sick? Stay away from me. And the reason was because I was shooting, And it was this thing of like, if you get
Of course.
COVID, we shut down for 2 weeks
Yeah.
and we lose all our locations. People got to go home. We lose crew.
Yeah.
So I walked in and I was like, there's literally no one with a mask here.
You were the only one.
And I saw Bob Odenkirk and he's like, do you have COVID?
Bob Odenkirk and Bill. So we were doing Brother Solomon. And
Oh my God, I was on a,
And
I know what you're going to say.
Bill's on a recumbent bicycle, okay?
Yeah.
And so we got the scene, it's me and Forte and Wig, and he kept having this thing, but Bob was so obsessed with Bill, and he goes, oh my God, buddy, oh, look at Bill on the recumbent bicycle.
He says, look up in the sky. And Kristen Wiig she's giving a performance where she has to cry.
She's got to cry. You remember this?
Yes, so she has to cry and give this emotional speech. And the joke is that while she's doing this, the brothers Solomon are watching me as this weird guy in a recumbent bike. Well, Bob was being one of the brothers Solomon because Kristen was giving this amazing performance, and he was like, cut. Okay, Bill, what you gotta do? And she's like, and Arnett was like, hey, Bob, can we please acknowledge what Kristen's doing over here?
It's incredible acting work.
She was doing this amazing work, and he was like, oh my God, where did they find this thing? Did they invent this bike? This isn't real, is it? Oh my God.
It was
People don't ride these.
It was so crazy. And we're
Kristen's drawing on all this past pain
and shit. And Bob obsessed with Bill on the fucking bike.
Dude, I really respected Arnett for being like, hey, can we just acknowledge?
And then You're Going to Prison is another Odenkirk film that was incredible.
That was a great one. Yeah, it was a good.
That was my very first audition for a movie. Was I auditioned for some part in that movie?
No way.
Bob, I remember reading with him, and he took my sides away, and he goes, "Don't worry about these. Just talk to me."
Oh, really?
And I was so scared. I was so anxious. Because I was like, he's a legend, and like Mr. Show and everything, and I was so terrified. And I never auditioned before, and I did the like by rote in a mirror, like, I did everything, and I had
What's the
all
most
the words.
money? What's the most money you've ever spent in one trip to Trader Joe's?
Oh my God! Sorry about this, Bill. Honestly.
No, on that, while we're on food, I want to hear about your peanut allergy. When was the last time you had a real? I want to know when you had a real blow up with peanuts. How did you
Marty
know?
Short said, Bill, usually people, when they talk about their allergies, it's so boring. But when you talk about it.
But like,
I do have a nut allergy. I do have a very bad nut allergy.
How do you know? What happened?
My mouth gets, it just happened to me. About a month ago. I was moderating a Q&A with somebody, and we went and ate beforehand, and I ate this lasagna. I'm at, Little Dom's, and I eat lasagna, and then suddenly my mouth goes numb, and my throat starts to go up, and I go in the bathroom, and I see I'm getting a rash on the side of my face, and I go, shit. Fuck. And so I ran, and there people are still talking and mingling, and I go, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I ran down to, there's like an Albertsons there or something, run inside, find Benadryl, take it in the aisle, took like 3 of them, and then went back.
So you don't need an EpiPen?
Was like, I got to go find an EpiPen, and I had no EpiPen, so I just did some Benadryl, texted my doctor. They were like, okay, you should be fine. Okay, we're going to put in a prescription here, whatever, and we were just figuring it out. And I ended up still doing the thing on a month.
What would nuts be doing in lasagna?
It was vegan cheese. It was cashew cheese.
Oh, cashews. It's not unusual in Los Feliz for actors just to be taking drugs in the aisles of Albertsons.
That is true. There was a bunch of other people, and they're like, you too, man?
But now, so as I don't remember when we were at the Dodger game, and I eat tons and tons of peanuts. I don't remember you getting nervous that I was near you with peanuts.
Yeah,
so you're not one of those.
No, it's not like the dust or something. I have to like ingest it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
it's
Good-
no
good to
fun.
know.
No
By
fun.
the way, Sean just very discreetly under his thing wrote down. You just give him an idea, lasagna. He just wrote it down.
That's what he's going to have for lunch.
He's like lasagna, Garfield. Oh no, I'm free.
You know what?
associated.
You know what
No,
Sean
no.
said to me, by the way, the
No,
other day.
nice.
This is totally true, Jason. I haven't told you this yet either. Sean the other day just goes, "You know what I had for breakfast this morning? I had a pot roast. I had a pot roast for breakfast." And I go, "What?" Just out of the blue. I go,
mashed
"What?" He goes, "Yeah, with mashed potatoes, and then I had ice cream." And I go,
God,
"Wait,
9 in the morning.
What are you being executed?
are you being,
Are you being executed?
are you on death row?"
I mean, we were at a meeting the other day. And they made us a cake.
This
at
is
this
true.
meeting.
Bill,
a
you ready for this?
A cake that had our Smartless pictures and names and stuff that was on the frosting on top.
Just like as a gift, like as sort of ceremonial, like here's a
Yeah,
cake,
it was kind of a fun little thing. And Sean left the meeting with the cake, full cake in his hand.
No, hang on a second.
Walking out.
Before
and
the meeting started, Sean cut into the cake and started eating it at the table, his own
Table of
cake.
30 people.
They made a cake for us. Why
30
is I not
people
gonna
in,
eat it?
at a
We-
business meeting.
He was
okay?
like, well, it would be rude not to have a piece.
So he
Which
starts eating it,
all right.
and then he took it with him in his car.
But
He
here's
left
the thing.
CAA. He came down out of CAA with this cake with his own fucking face on it.
But he lives with his husband and a dog. That's it. So who was going to eat that
not
cake?
for
And
kids.
you said you'd have half of it done by the end of the week.
Scotty's got diabetes. He's not eating the cake, so it's all Sean. So
Sean,
Bill, what's your current temperature?
No. Sean, serious question. How much of the cake is left? This is not
that
yet
night,
a week.
That night he had more, and that morning, the next morning, right, Sean?
It's
Yeah, for
5
sure.
days later. How much is
I
left?
kind of wanted it done. Like, if you're an adult and you have all the cake you can eat, why wouldn't you eat it?
Right.
Are you self-aware when that's happening, Sean? Are you
Like,
like,
do you have,
this
do you have guilt? Do you have
this is a little
shame?
nuts?
No
You
guilt.
have shame.
No, you know what I
You're
think it
like-
is?
Like, I just can't stop.
I think because we grew up with nothing. Anytime I'm like, oh my God, free cake.
Free cake.
Tell me how much of the cake is left.
It's gone.
It's
Is
long
it
gone.
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was a week. That was
You shit pig.
almost a week ago.
Shit pig.
Yeah, you're just a
No.
Shit pig.
I get that. I don't know.
Don't
I
you get it?
that. I get it. I do get it where it's like, what? We're just going to leave this here? Come on.
yeah.
I know there is a lot of that, and there's a lot of waste in what we do.
Final question.
God, that was funny.
How high can you jump? If you really wanted to jump high, how high?
By the way, here's the other thing, Bill. You work with our old dear friend on Barry, Henry Winkler.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I love
Henry.
him. I love
the
him.
myth. Henry's so sweet.
The one and only.
He's the greatest.
The sweetest.
He's always like,
Like you doubt his
get me
sincerity.
there.
He's so
Does he still
damn
leave
nice.
his ringer on his phone while you're rolling? Does he do that? with you?
No, he doesn't do that. But
We have a blooper reel that's dedicated from the first couple seasons of
Oh my
Arrested to
God.
Henry's phone going off in the middle of a scene. By the way, usually during his own dialogue. So he'd be doing a courtroom scene, going, "What do we have to?" And then ring. Oh my God! Hang on
he's
a
like,
second.
uh-oh, it's Stacy. Hold on.
And Jason, we have a great blooper of Jason going, "Go ahead and take that. You want to just take it, or you want to?"
Oh, Henry, he's so sweet. Henry, one time we were doing a thing, and my character fought in Afghanistan, and 3 takes in a row he said Vietnam.
Yeah, sure.
It was really funny. I have him on my phone. He's like, and when Barry was fighting in Vietnam, that's not right. Hold on. And then every
funny.
Friday, it's like, Henry, that was a great take where you had to have a mental breakdown. That was really good. He's like, you got me there. I have this chocolate bundt cake from Jersey City in the trunk of my car.
He is
It's just him
absolutely
doing-
the greatest.
He does
guy
amazing
ever.
work, and I think he gets very anxious about his dramatic work, but he's such a good dramatic actor.
God.
And he really will go where he needs, he's not afraid or whatever, but it is funny how much he'll have that moment and then he, turns it right on. This season especially, he goes through a lot of stuff, but when he'll do that, and then, he'll offer you sweets.
He's such a talent. He was one of the guys when we were first doing Arrested Development, and I was living in New York, but coming out here to do it, and I'd be oftentimes, I was friends with these guys a little bit, but whatever. I didn't have anywhere. And he and his wife, Stacy, would invite me over on
nice.
Saturday mornings, and I would go over there and just have breakfast with him and with the family all the time. He was so sweet.
I love him.
I know.
Yeah.
They were so generous. Oh.
Yeah, we pretty much every month go and have breakfast like once, and it's great. And he is kind of like, so how are you doing? Like outside of everything, how's your life? How's this? How's this feeling? Like he's just, I always walk away from those feeling, better about myself.
Didn't you want to grow up in his house?
Well, you know what was funny?
Dad.
Do you remember back then? Back then, it was like when his son Max was still in high school, and his best buddy was Jonah Hill, and those guys were still in fucking high school when I was there. Like this is like 2003, like the fall of 2003.
The fall was it?
Yeah, and those guys were still in high school. Him and Jonah, and they were like, "Oh man, we love Arrested Development," and they were like fucking 17, or if that. So weird. Anyway,
2003.
Sean wanted to know, have you ever had to put snow tires on?
He texted that in.
He texted me. He said, just please ask him.
I'm so glad you got it in time.
Don't be so shy, Sean. That's a great question.
Can you, Bill, because I'm such a massive
What's
fan.
that hammer?
I'm such a massive fan. Can you do I know you're not a singing monkey.
Here we go.
But can you do Vincent Price just a little bit? Because it's so fucking funny.
Oh, I'm trying to. Well, the thing I remember, when John Mulaney's first night of writing at SNL, Seth Meyers said, "Oh, maybe we should bring the new guy in and help on Vincent Price." And we were writing a thing, and it was Fred would play Liberace, and I'm Vincent Price, and we're arguing.
Yeah.
And we're arguing as you do.
Right, still with you, yep.
Yeah, so he's Liberace.
Still with you.
This, by the way, this is in 2008 when people are still really excited about Vincent Price and Liberace. And as Lauren said, I like to sketch, but why now? But Liberace, and they're talking, and we're like, oh, what's that thing Vincent Price could say to Liberace after he burns him or something? And John Mulaney came up with the line, "Save your sassy sides for your windowless bars."
That is so funny. That is so funny.
And then he had
I wish Fred was here to do his Liberace.
That is profoundly
and then Fred
funny.
would, Liberace was always him talking about like a prince who had given him a jewel or something. Yeah, there was always. And
anyway, Jack Nicholson, John Malkovich, all of them. I fucking love all of those.
oh, thank you very much.
all
Yeah,
incredible.
And then that that line always. We were just like, whoa.
But like, what about
that?
What is there ever going to be another vehicle where we can see you do your impressions, or is it just going to be
is
like
that chapter
just
closed, bro?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like just
I mean,
at
I
parties
go on
now?
like Kimmel or something. They'll be like, I went on Kimmel like not too long ago, and he had me do all the Dateline people.
Right.
Because I watch Dateline a lot. So he's like, just do all the Dateline people. So I did them. But yeah, usually it's like you're at a party or something, and you know who loves
Like at
impressions?
Conan's. Yeah.
Yeah, Conan. You know who loves impressions is Larry David.
Yeah.
He loves.
Sean just did some work with him.
Lose his mind when you do an impression of anybody.
Can you do Larry David?
I mean, that's. Yeah,
Wait,
Who would you trust to do you?
Oh man, everybody does.
Probably
me.
Sarah
Everybody-
Finowich.
Fred does a really good me, which is.
Does he really?
His impression of me. Everybody's impression of me is like, "Hey, Ben, what's going on? It's Bill." And then his impression of me is, "I've always just discovered a super famous band." Like, hey, you know who I started listening to is Bruce Springsteen. He's like, you always walk into my office and you're like, the Allman Brothers are pretty good. I just started listening to them. And
Wait,
he's like,
do really quick. Do Jack Nicholson watching Dateline.
I don't know if I do Jack Nicholson.
Oh,
I don't
really?
remember doing Jack Nicholson, but you know who Larry David likes is Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster, when there's this guy told me a story. This made Larry David laugh really hard. Was a guy who worked for Burt Lancaster, and he brought him some chowder for lunch, and he said that Burt Lancaster looked in the bag and looked up at him, and he went, "Oyster crackers. You forgot the oyster crackers." Larry David makes me say that all the time. He's like, "Oyster crackers. You forgot the oyster crackers."
That's so
But
well,
yeah, I think that's it's always fun. I do it on set, and it gets old fast.
No, actually, nothing.
Never.
I've never had setups in between shots feel shorter than when I worked with you on Paul. It's just so fun to hang out with on a set. You got to do more of that
together.
Yeah, we were. Do you remember when they blew up the house in Paul?
Yeah.
And you remember? And they said, "Yeah, you guys are going to stand right here."
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we went, "Okay." And then me and you were looking at each other, and I go, "You know what? I'm going to go stand where the special effects guy is."
the guy standing behind a barricade.
And then where we were standing was a giant car or something like massive debris landed where we were. We were like, this isn't fun.
No.
Yeah. That was
Oh my God, wait a second. I love that you're telling us this because Jason doesn't remember anything. By the way, he never would have told us that story. Never comes up.
No, he also, were you there when the guys made us drink jalapeno stuff?
No.
I think weren't you with us?
I might have been.
It was me and Simon Pegg and everybody, and they're like, "Hey, you guys are Hollywood people." You know, it was just like we were in New Mexico, and they were like, "Oh, these loud Hollywood people." And they, "Hey, here, drink a shot of this." And it wasn't. It was pure
jalapeno juice.
They were like, it's not alcoholic, because I was like, "Oh, I don't drink," and they're like, and it was jalapeno juice. And we had to run and get milk and stuff. It was a way of like, get the fuck out of here.
Maybe I was there. That's starting to sound familiar.
That was fun. That was good.
Let me tell you what was fun, Bill, was this chat. And we've taken, we could do 2 full episodes. We haven't gotten into any of your incredible voiceover work and all these animated films, too. I mean, it's on and on and on.
It really is.
You're an incredible talent, multidimensional, or whatever it is. You're that. And
big fan.
And a great guest.
Well done. Good to see you, dude.
Good to see you guys, man.
Yeah,
Good to
man.
see you, Pally.
I'm calling you for a Dodger game soon.
Yeah, please.
All right. Have a good day, bud.
You bet. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, pal.
Bye.
All right. I don't think there's anything that guy can't do.
God, that was funny stuff, man.
Funny, he's
really
dramatic. He acts, writes, directs, produces. High quality person, friend.
I'm just kind of blown away that he went on SNL and then just had all those characters. Like, what are the odds of, let's take a chance on Bill Hader, and then you got all this stuff inside of him.
Yeah, it's so funny. He's always got, it's funny that he said that he does that appropriation thing, because it is, you see that in
like a nervous thing.
Yeah, where he's just like, and he starts doing the voice while he's...
I do that all the time I'll take people's laughter. I'll start laughing like them for some weird reason. And that'll be like my new laugh for a few weeks.
Really?
I think it's like a common human thing.
I do find that I just yammer and yammer and yammer when I'm socially uncomfortable. I'll do the opposite of what you think you would do, which is just shrivel and go into a corner and be quiet. I should just start talking. I just start speaking whatever I'm thinking of in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I notice you at parties, and you kind of do it on this. I see you talking to somebody when you're engaging with like another person, and you're just talking at them. And you're like asking them questions, and you're just fucking, and they're thinking like, at first they're like, I get to talk to Jason Bateman, and then they want to fucking kill themselves.
And they realize it's not that great.
And do you blah blah blah, and you're going, but the question, it's like the show. You're asking a question, but you're leading, and it's on and on.
I know.
And I just. Often they have a look of what I would describe only as disgust.
Yeah, my family kicked me out of the house a couple days ago.
But you know what, Jay? With all that work on your mouth that you've had, you're talking so beautifully, and I'm glad you finally got that tooth fixed. Which one was it called? I think it was a bicuspid.
And then repeat it again and say it higher.
Bicuspid.
Look at Will harmonizing.
I didn't love it. It was too early.
Well, my God, are you kidding?
Smart.
Smartless is 100% organic and artisanally handcrafted by Rob Armjarv, Bennett Barbaco, and Michael Grant-Terry.
Smart less.
Our next episode will be out in a week wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can listen to it right now early on Amazon Music, or early and ad-free by subscribing to Wondery Plus in Apple Podcasts or the Wondery app.
Hello, I'm Mark, Customer Success and Support Lead. Today I'll be giving you a demo of Omni Studio. our enterprise-level podcast host and audio content management system. Let's get into it. What we're looking at here is the account of Hot FM. Hot FM is our own in-house hybrid radio broadcaster and podcast publisher. Each one of these pieces of show art relate to a different program, and we also support grouping programs into networks. More on this later. But you can see from the ground up, Omny is built for multi-show management. And from going to one program, it's easy to navigate to another. In Hot FM, we have 4 active programs in 2 networks, as well as 1 additional program that's hidden. But creating a new program in Omny is very easy. We simply go up to New Program, fill out our details like our show name, our artwork, and our other required fields, and hit Save Changes. It's also really easy to bring in programs you already have. Simply paste in your RSS feed and hit Import Podcast. Advanced settings are here too, if you need them. And if you've got more than one podcast to import, you can bring them all over at once with our batch importer. Once your podcasts are in Omny, you probably want to publish an episode. So we'll click into the program and run through uploading and publishing an episode. Up here at Upload Audio Files, you'll see we support a wide variety of audio formats, including the industry standard MP3, AAC, WAV, and uncompressed AIFF files. So either click Upload Audio to get a file picker, or simply drag in audio files to drag and drop. As soon as the audio upload starts, you can begin preparing the clip for publishing as an episode, including giving the episode a title, giving your episode rich and descriptive show notes with embedded links, and full HTML formatting, selecting from a range of publishing options, including making the episode available straight away, scheduling for a later date, knowing that this time is in your local time zone, as taken from your browser settings. Add the episode to a playlist, which we'll explain a little bit further on. Omny offers full support for enhanced podcast categories, including season and episode numbers and episode type, as offered in the Apple Podcast app. Omny offers a range of audio enhancement features, which, while completely optional, can be turned on by default at the program and organization level. And even more metadata, like content rating tags, are available. And finally, Save Changes to prepare the episode. Throughout the Omny UI, you'll find helpful, glanceable information, such as the publishing status of a clip, if it's public, or if it's scheduled for when, the number of playlists an episode has been added to, the lifetime downloads of a clip, and downloads over the last 7 days. When an episode is published and added to an RSS feed, it'll be available in all the podcast apps and directories that RSS feed has been submitted to. But from within Omny, there's even more we can do to promote and distribute the show. Every podcast we host comes with an Omny.fm page, which includes an embed player, your show notes, share buttons for social media, and subscribe links to the show in all the apps that you'd like to enable. It's also easy to share a link to that episode page right to social media. Our embed players come in multiple styles. And as well as having a range of players, Omny also makes it easy to customize them. And what you see is what you get here. Meaning as you toggle options, you'll see them reflected immediately in the player. And we also support full color customization. And you can even add hexadecimal or hex values here, so you get the right color every time, meaning it's easy to match your player's color against your branding. And our integration with Headliner makes it easy to send audio across to make an audiogram. We also integrate with Podchaser. Podchaser is a directory of podcast creator and guest credits that makes it easy for podcast fans to find new shows and find out about new appearances of their favorite guests. And finally, Omny make it easy to download your episode as an MP3, either as a file with or without dynamic ads, or as a direct link to to allow you to still gather download analytics. While we're in a clip or episode, you can see here we've got an analytics tab, but we'll get more into download analytics a little further on. For now though, let me show you consumption. And this is great if you want to know not just how many people downloaded your episode, but how many people actually listened, and for how long. Where did they stop and start? When did they skip? In Omny, we collect consumption analytics from our web players, custom mobile apps using our consumption API, and a few other sources of potential consumption analytics. From these sources, we collect verified plays, which are listening sessions with at least 10 seconds of playback. And from these verified play sessions, we can tell you what percentage of your listeners got through the first 25, 50, 75%, or all the way through this particular episode. We can see where people started listening, although most will start at 0 minutes and 0 seconds. We can also see where people dropped off, or see where people skipped. Moving on from consumption, every episode in Omny can have a transcript generated for it. And Omny offers 3 levels of transcription service, and you can move between these levels at any time. Simply choose the language of your content. Each transcription service offers different languages. Choose to immediately make the transcript available upon completion, and see an estimate for how much this transcript will cost. And if you're happy, just begin the transcript. And that's just a quick and very high-level look at episode operations in Omny Studio. From hobbyists running live streams to full-on radio networks, Omny offers an industry-leading live stream recording software. We won't go into this in any detail in this podcasting demo, but learn more at omnystudio.com if that's of interest. Down one item and we arrive at podcast feeds. This is where RSS feeds live within Omny, and I'll show you now what a playlist is. This particular program we're looking at, Drive with John, is a radio show. And so the whole show is offered as a podcast under the Drive Show podcast, but also shows a separate Best Moments feed, featuring just highlights of that day's show. So looking now at Best Moments, and we have 5 clips or episodes available on this playlist. Whereas if we go to the Drive Show podcast, we can see 6. Going to the Details tab for the Drive Show podcast, we can see an RSS feed. This is a different RSS feed than the one available from Best Moments. If you're watching this with any familiarity with podcasting, you'll notice that within one program, we have 2 RSS feeds, which means they can both be submitted to Apple Podcasts and other podcast apps. In practice, the vast majority of programs hosted on Omny only have a single playlist. And those programs that do have more than one playlist usually don't submit more than one RSS feed to podcast apps. But you can use multiple playlists to curate content, to make available on a playlist player. And to use the example of Drive with John, we could have 6 episodes available on a podcast feed and 4 available here in a playlist player. For more advanced options or how this could work for your particular use case, please contact Omny or Triton Support. And we'll be happy to talk about how Omny's powerful and flexible playlisting can help you. Going down now to program analytics. The first selection we have to make is our date range. And as mentioned earlier, the date in use here is the one taken from your browser settings, so it's in your local time and time zone. Select an easy date range preset, or choose a custom date range. Your main graph shown here can then be plotted differently depending on your needs. And if for any reason you need to get this raw data, you can export it as a spreadsheet-friendly CSV file. When looking at program-level analytics, you can drill down into your most downloaded clips, being episodes, or playlists. Omny will provide you an estimate of your podcast subscribers, and you can find information on how we calculate that figure. You can also see playback destinations, or where your listeners are listening from. This particular program, Drive with John, is getting over 96% of its listening through the podcast feed, with 3% via the embed player, which can be further broken down into a list of the sites the embed player is on. For listening through the podcast feed, you can see the apps and platforms devices and device types, as well as the geography of your downloads, which we can drill down to the state and even city level. Going back to the top, we've got a couple analytics tools available to us. The first, Compare Clip Downloads, allows you to select up to 10 clips and see their performance compared to each other in days since release. This graph can be constrained by day and changed from cumulative to daily downloads. This is really powerful to publishers depending on their needs, but one important piece of utility is to get an average downloads within 30 days of up to 10 clips, a particularly useful metric to give to sponsors and potentially monetize your show. This data can also be exported to CSV as per-day downloads or cumulative downloads. Another tool is Compare Clip Consumption, going back to consumption analytics. First of all, we can filter this by publish date and by clip duration of under 15 minutes, 15 to 60 minutes, and over 60 minutes. And then we can dive into the aggregated data from all the clips in this program within these filters. With an intuitive UI, powerful analytics tools, full CSV export, and a powerful management API, Omny Studio has your analytics needs covered. And we're also IAB V2 certified. Moving down now into program users and user management. We can see here a huge list of users who can access this program. And Omny knows that for our publishers with large networks, user management and control is very important. So a user can be given just the permissions they need and just in the programs they need. And these permissions can vary program to program. And Omny also supports network level and organization level user permissions. Inviting a new user is as simple as entering their email address. And we'll send your user an invite link. All they have to do is follow it, choose a password, and they have access to whatever you choose to give them access to, but nothing else. And finally, moving to program settings. Up first on our details page, this is where we can change aspects of the RSS feed, the metadata that determines what your show looks like on podcast apps and directories. This is where we can change the name of our show, update our show description or categories, change our author name, as well as set a default playlist. And you can find even more options in these drop-downs, such as automatically adding a support link to each and every one of your episode show notes, should you want to. There's a lot of customization available to you within Omny, so we won't go into each of these settings tabs. But I'll just quickly mention our clip intro and outro feature saves a lot of publishers a lot of time in their workflow, as well as our support for Google Audio News and our audio optimization tools. And that's been a very high-level walkthrough of the Omny Studio audio CMS and podcasting platform. And this demo will be over in less than a minute, so feel free to stretch your legs and move about the cabin. Here in Podcast Reviews, you can track any new reviews for any podcast available in Apple Podcasts. It's a lot of information you can have available in one place. And that's been your very brief tour of Omny Studio. Happy podcasting.